we're going to go ahead and get started with our NASCAR Cup Series post-race media availabilities here at Darlington Raceway. We are now joined by Rick Hendrick, team owner of Hendrick Motorsports, and Jeff Gordon, vice chairman of Hendrick Motorsports. Also important to note that this is the 100th win for the number 24. So gentlemen, if you would start us off, just your reaction to that incredible stat.
Well, obviously a great day for the 24 car, and I think back to last year here at Darlington, a little bit of redemption too for William Byron and that team. But yeah, real special. I mean, this weekend's special with all the throwbacks, especially that 24 throwback meant a lot to me. A lot of memories from 50th anniversary year, and was that 98, I believe, and in that car and that paint scheme. So certainly it was great to see it on track, but to see William perform and the whole team perform the way they did today too, and they had to fight back. They had track position, good car, and they had to work on it a little bit throughout the race, as well as got a little bit behind on one or two pit stops, but they just hung in there, and they were at the right place, at the right time to capitalize there at the end, and then great restart. So really happy for that whole team, and this year I feel like it's been just a phenomenal year for Rudy and for William and that whole 24 team. They've just been performing at a very high level every weekend, and that's why they've won the races that they have.
Mr. Hendrick, would you like to comment on that?
Sorry, I was sleeping here. Anytime you can win at Darlington, I didn't realize it had been since 2012 was the last race we won here, and we won with Terry, and we won a lot of races here. I remember wasn't that the steam engine that you won here?
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's great to win. Our cars were good. The Toyotas looked extremely fast as the race started, and we came back, and the adjustments they made were really good. And it's so good to see William win. To think about him as 3 wins now this year, more than anybody, and feel bad for Kyle, because he had a really good car and drove the wheels off of it, and you hate to see that happen at that stage of the race. But this is a good place. We're 296 wins now, a couple wins, so we're looking for 300 and hope we can get it this year.
Well, congratulations. We're going to open the floor to questions. We're going to start with Mike, go to Ben, and then work our way back.
Mike Hendrick from NBC. Rick, you've been stacking up wins over the past months and years, but like you mentioned, it's been 2012 since you guys won here. Is there an easy explanation for that, or just coincidence?
Joey Logano hitting William in the ass, Kyle Busch, yeah, Chase, yeah. If you go back and look at it, you can see exactly what happened. We've led laps and we've been in position, but one of those situations like that, when you see a caution toward the end, and we thought Chase had won. We think William had it won last year. Or was it last year? Yeah. Yep. And Joey got him going into turn 1. So, it's a hard race. It's a long race, and things happen, and you can be in the catbird seat, and then a caution comes out, and people pit, don't pit, and then you're in a box. But it's tough to win anywhere in this sport right now.
You mentioned 300. You're closing in on that. Any celebration in particular in mind? Kind of a big sale at the car shop, or what you got planned?
We're talking about. We really want to celebrate 300. So it's going to be an awesome year when we can do that. We'll have a huge party with all of our guys. We'll try to get all the drivers that have won a race to come back and join us. So, it's a milestone. I never thought we'd catch Richard, and now to think about 300 wins, it's amazing. And we like to celebrate those victories because that's a real milestone in the sport. So, big party, and you can get cars on a deal any day, any day.
All right, let's go to Ben White.
Okay, Ben White, Fayetteville Observer, for Jeff and Mr. Hendrick both. It seems like William is just calm as a cucumber all the time, just cool. And is he that way in the car and also outside the car? I mean, he just seems like, you get drivers who are just all over the place in the car and get upset and stuff. Is he that way in the car
Well,
also?
well, I was standing right there with him on pit road last year when he didn't win the race because he got knocked out of the way by Joey, and I would not have considered that a calm, cool, and collected William. But he does hold it in and composes himself well, and you know, he just puts his head down, gets through it over the next couple days, and goes on to the next one and puts it behind him, and that's what great race car drivers do.
Yeah, you know, I think we've seen it more this year and maybe last year when he's running up front and something happens. He gets really, if somebody gets into him, he gets upset. But, you know, he's calm in the car and he gives great feedback. And Rudy does an awesome job. And, I mean, to look back at William and see how he's matured over the years and how good he is now, it's pretty amazing the lack of laps he's got, you know, to be in the position he's in. But he's smart. He works hard. He's in the simulator all the time. He puts a lot of effort into the program.
The only thing I'll add to that is leading laps, winning races, competing at you know, up front almost every single weekend, racing with the competitors he's racing with. That builds your confidence in a way where you can be more calm because, you know, something might happen that gets you behind, but you got confidence in yourself, your pit crew, your team will get it back. And I think that's what I'm seeing, you know, kind of the evolution of William and the whole team this year.
All right, let's go to Dustin and then Jordan.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Rick, while you're celebrating a win by one of your cars, the number 5 could have been in contention to have won today and involved in the incident with the 1. It's the third time he's been damaged by the 1, and either directly or indirectly the last month. Has Ross Chastain crossed a line?
I think you can ask any driver in here that he's wrecked or been involved with him. You know, he doesn't have to be that aggressive. And I guess at this point in the race, maybe you're super aggressive, but you just don't run people up in the fence or, you know, just he's gonna make a lot of enemies. It's hard to win a championship when you got a lot of paybacks out there. And so he's got so much talent. I think if he just calmed down, that there's a time in the race. Dale Earnhardt Sr. told me one time. He said, you know, I won't name the driver who drove for me, but he said, you know, he's got all the talent. He just doesn't know how to race, and meaning he just knows when to race, when to push it. He's got a lot of talent, but he's making a lot of enemies out here. And I mean, Kyle now, this one in Dover, and you know, it's getting Talladega. It's really getting old with these guys.
And obviously these guys are competitors, but this is another Chevrolet driver. So
I don't care if he's driving a Chevrolet, if he wrecks our cars. I don't care. And I've told Chevrolet that. If you wreck us, you're going to get it back. And if you don't do it, they'll run all over you. So, you know, I'm loyal to Chevrolet, but when somebody runs over us, then I expect my guys to hold their ground. And I'm not going to ask them to yield just because it's a Chevrolet.
And one last thing, thank you, is do you have to get involved, or is this all about Kyle? I know Kyle typically is not a confrontational type of person. That's not in his nature. Is that something that needs to be discussed at a higher level, or is that something that Kyle's just got to stick him in the wall at some point?
Well, I would think Justin would have a conversation and say, you know, it's going to be hard. Again, if you have a lot of people, you know, wanting to pay you back, then it's hard to win a championship that way. And he's got talent enough to do that. And but we don't want to get knocked out of. If you look at the points that Larson's lost because of that, and the race here today, I mean, you know, it's just I think somewhere in the stages he was all over Larson. So I mean, we can't. The drivers have to settle that. Whatever I say to the owners or NASCAR. NASCAR wants to get in it. They did with Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt when I was going through all that, and they put a stop to it.
But this hasn't reached that.
But no, and this is just not between two guys, you know. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Kind of a follow-up question to this. Cliff Daniels said over the radio, maybe this is just him kind of venting, but he did say like he wanted Chevrolet to step in, or at least hinted at it strongly. that Chevrolet should step in. Is that something that you would like to see happen, just to kind of maybe kind of cool everything down a little bit?
Well, I don't know if Chevrolet can cool it down. You know, I don't know that. That's not the way they usually operate. It's either NASCAR or the drivers, or the owners. But you know, you heard the pit crew say before, hey, we like it. We don't care if people like us. We're here to run over and win. But you know, if it doesn't change, he's going to have a hard time winning a championship.
And this question's for Jeff. Jeff, I think it's fair to say, like, you know, Kyle's a mild-mannered driver for the most part. Like, he's not somebody who's going to go out there and shove people around, that kind of thing. Is that something you have to kind of push for him to do, to kind of respond to this a little bit, or is that something that it's just not his nature?
Well, yeah, Kyle's got to work within what he's comfortable with, and some people are really comfortable pushing and shoving and have no issue spinning guys or putting them in the fence. And Kyle's a guy that you have a lot of respect for him because the way he races, and but he knows when to be aggressive too. So I think it depends on what's on the line. When it's maybe for the championship, if that's what it's going to take. But I think Kyle is the kind of guy that if he leans on somebody, he's going to make sure both of you come out the other end. That's his kind of responsibility in the way he carries himself. So obviously having multiple incidences, and it's a long list that Ross is now a part of, but I don't anticipate Kyle changing the way that he races guys, knowing Kyle the way I do.
All right, we're going to take 2 more questions. We're going to go to Pete and then to Bob.
Pete Iacobelli, Associated Press. Mr. Hendrick, that letter came out earlier this week about team owners wanting NASCAR to continue negotiating for a good rights settlement. Why do you think there's pushback on the permanent charter situation, and what do you think might happen next?
Well, I think it's a complicated situation when you look at permanent charters, and I think they've got they at least, we met with them the other day and they're listening, and I just think you got the TV deal on the table, and I think NASCAR's listening, so we'll see if we can get something worked out that everybody can live with.
Jeff, I think you were been part of the negotiating team. Do you think that the negotiating team is still being listened to by NASCAR? Because Denny Hamlin came out with some comments the other day that he wasn't sure that.
Denny Hamlin came out with comments? I'm shocked. I'll be honest, I have not seen any of those. I think we're still having good conversations, as Rick mentioned, with NASCAR. Obviously, they're right in the middle of negotiating with the TV networks and partners there, and how that's going to all be packaged together, and so we all want the same thing. We all want to have a sport that's thriving, that fans love, and great competition like what we saw on the track today, and also have something that works out economically for the teams, for the tracks, for NASCAR, and everybody involved. So I think we're in a good place, but we're also making sure that NASCAR knows kind of where the teams stand and how united they are.
All right, we're going to take one more question for Jeff and Rick, and then we're going to let them go. We're going to go to Bob, but before we do, I want to introduce our race winner, William Byron, and our race-winning crew chief of the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, Rudy Fugel. Go ahead with your question, Bob.
Yeah, I had 2 for Rick. Alex Bowman talked to us a little bit earlier today. He said that doesn't know when he'll be back, that he's getting scans in a few days. I'm curious, like, when would you, if the scan said he's okay, would you encourage him to race right away? Would you want him to maybe wait till after the 600? And then also, have you reconsidered your kind of stance on extracurricular activities?
Yeah, I don't want him snowboarding anymore. No, look, I want him to be right when he gets back in the car, because when you got an injury like that, which he would like to be back in Charlotte. He's seeing the doctor this week, and he's got to get in and out of the car. They got to put the belts on him and see how he responds. That's a terrible injury. If you come back too early, it can mess you up for the whole year. So I want him to be right, and he's listening to the doctors. he has started working out. So I think it's a good shot. He'll be back pretty quick. But we haven't done the test in the car with the straps on him and the harnesses and see if he has any pain.
And then yesterday, Larson actually won in the scheme, which I assume is pretty close to you. Just kind of curious what your emotions were yesterday after that win.
Oh, I like to see Hendrick car wins races, and that was a good day. He drove a heck of a race, and I would have liked for it to have been my car or JRM car, but he wants to race. They had a car, and it was going to work. So I was excited. I love to see him win whatever he's in.
Jeff, Rick, thank you for spending some time with us, and congratulations.